What is up, YouTube knife community? Here again today to show some mods that I just wrapped up. I just literally just finished the work on one of these knives, and it's one that I want to get shipped out as soon as possible. You guys saw my video not too long ago about the rat mod that I did for, well, I didn't do it for Jared and Kara, but I had one laying here ready to go, and I sent it to Jared and Kara as a gift. And then that kind of caused a chain reaction. Pocket Tank EDC hit me up and wanted an R2D2 done. Ontario Rat 2 and D2, so I did his. And then Bad Monkey EDC hit me up and wanted a one of the Ganzos that looks like a rat. He wanted it done the same way. So then Shaun from Geared Toward Gear decided he wanted one. So he sent me a tan version to do for him. So yeah, I just finished up the work on his knife. And here it is. There's the stone wash on the blade. Then this ain't gonna come in too good with this lighting. It might, but the liners, excuse my band-aid guys, sorry about that. But the liners have been stone acid etched and stone washed. And the barrel spacers, you can kind of tell, yeah, there's a good shot. They're blued a little bit with flame anno. And then the clip, I stripped the black DLC off the clip, acid etched it and stone washed it. Then I put a good edge on it. It's a 1500 grit edge. Like I said in the last video, I like to stop there with D2 because I feel like you lose performance if you start polishing D2. For some reason, it just seems like it dulls faster to me. Maybe other people have different experiences, but that's my experience with D2. If I polish it, the edge doesn't last as long. But he got his finger tool and his spidey hole and his acid etch. So there's Shaun's knife right there. Beautiful knife, come out perfect. Shaun wanted to dye his own scales because for some reason I have terrible luck with red. Seems like all the red ones I ever try come out burgundy. But I'm going to order some different stuff on Amazon. The local stores around here don't have the racing red and such, so I'm going to try to order some. But I'm working on 2 more SPYDIERAT mods right now, and they're going to be stock just to sell. So if you're interested in one, hit me up. I've already got the scales done for them. The first one was a gray Knife Center exclusive Rat 1, and this is going to be the scales for it. And then the next one was a OD green. I tried to go navy blue, but yeah, they look more black. In certain lights, you can kind of see a dark blue tint, but that'll be the other one. So if you're interested in one of them, hit me up, and I'll speed the process up a little bit. And then another one that I just got done modding, and this is my intentions with this knife is this going to be a gift to a good buddy of mine. I'm not going to say who yet because I'm not 100% positive that I just need to wait a little longer before I reveal who it's going to. But this next one is the CJRB CRAG, which was OD green, and I dyed the scales black. These pivot collars were like a really almost neon kind of orange. I don't know. I threw some heat to them. I wouldn't say anode. I threw some heat to them and dulled that orange a little bit. It kind of looks more bronze now. I like that. The blade was a cleaver shaped blade, and I changed it into this sheep's foot. It did. If anybody who's reviewed it probably spotted it right away, but if you haven't had one or haven't looked at them, just go check it out. The blade came down like this, and then it had like an up sweep. It came up, pretty high, It was 1.5 inches wide in the pocket before this mod. Let's see what it is now. It was 1.5 inches right here. See if I can get the calipers on it. I can't see squat. So now it's 1.42, something like that. So it's a little bit more narrow in the pocket, not much. Excuse me. So I took that little section off the blade, I rounded the spine a little bit, and I kind of put a swedge on it, this little small swedge all the way down the length of the blade. And then this is the first attempt at this. Let's see if we can get it on camera. If you look right there, if you know about the CRAG, you know that it didn't have any weight relief whatsoever. So I put those 3 pockets right there. You can see them on the show side liner. And on the lock side liner right back here in the back, there's one big pocket. So I put those in to relieve the weight just a little bit. So taking that out of the liners and taking that little bit off the blade, it did lighten it up. You can tell, you can feel it in hand. It lightened it up a little bit. So there's another option. If anybody has a CJRB they want modded, I'd be happy to do that too. These things surprise me a lot with just the overall build quality and ease of disassembly and reassembly. One thing you got to watch out for is only one side of this pivot turns, and these screws are a little soft. I don't know if you catch it. Let's see. Oh, you can't really see it. But one side, I can't remember. Let's see, the show side adjusts. So the lock side, I kind of stripped it a little bit. But luckily, that's not the side that turns. I should have knew better, but hey, I screwed up. It'll be all right. It still works. You can still adjust it. It didn't hurt anything. But what I'm getting at is this knife, I always go on and on and on about like having to tinker with a knife after you get it all back together, and you got to loosen this screw and tighten that screw. And one of my favorite models, the Mannix, is the world's worst for that. I'll show you what I mean. Happen to have a Mannix laying right here. So here's my Maximet Mannix. So when you put this thing back together, if you crank down on this screw and this, if you crank down on all the screws and then you try to adjust the pivot, 9 times out of 10, the action, it is not going to be where you want it to be. Most of the time, you need to back this screw right here out and this screw right here out, put Loctite on them, stick them back in, and stop just before you get them super tight. And then ease down on your pivot and check for blade play, all that good stuff. So it's just kind of a pain in the butt, and a PM2 is even worse than a Mannix in my opinion. But this knife right here, for $28 or whatever it is, I think it's 28 bucks. You put this thing back together, you tighten all the screws down as tight as you can get it, and it's ready to go. I mean, it's just kind of like, I don't really want to say it, but kind of like a Chris Reeves, you just slap the screws in, torque them down wherever, just as tight as you can get them, and it'll do its thing. It runs on ceramic bearings, action's smooth. I love it. The detent could be just a little bit stronger, but you got to kind of try to feel it, but you can feel it. But still, it's a good damn knife. With this new sheep's foot blade on it, I love it. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I extended the sharpening tool. It was probably stopped about right there where my thumbnail is. Now it comes to right there. So I extended that so you could actually use it as a finger tool. Now it fits my finger good. You're a little close to that danger zone, but I don't think you'd ever have any trouble with it. I always like to put if I'm going to creep up and use the tool, I always like to put my finger in and pull back instead of, straight up. Just kind of pull back toward the pivot a little bit. And you don't never slip off once you do it like that. But there's the CJRB with the weight relief liners, the dyed scales, and finger tool, and the new sheep's foot blade. So now we're at 10 minutes. I want to give you guys first impressions on a knife that I just got not long ago. I won this in a Instagram giveaway, JREDC on Instagram. Shout out to JREDC. This is a Horns Knives Pollux, Pollux. This is an example of one of those knives, guys, that it would be easy to give up on this, opening it and having the first impressions that I had with this knife. Because when I first got this knife, the action was freaking terrible. Like you couldn't even flip it. It would not flip whatsoever. Okay, so the reason I'm having trouble with locking is my thumb. I slice my thumb real good. But anyway, so I tinkered with this thing. I took it apart, and lo and behold, there was a burr where they stamp out the holes for the pivots and such. There was a burr around that pivot in the liners. So I just took my little Dremel and polished it off, put the knife back together, and everything is fine. It's got killer action now, well, as I feel it. But you can fail it still, but if you light switch it, she comes right on out there. And this knife is, you can find this knife on Amazon for $28. It's AUS 8 steel. I don't know how Horns does AUS 8. Never tested any yet, but this one will be tested. It's got 120 thousandths blade stock. It's got some good jimping. I mean, good enough. It ain't too stout. I mean, too aggressive, but it's about the way I like jimping, really. 120, like I said, 120 blade stock, and this thing is ground thin. It's not a hollow grind tonto, whatever you want to say. It's a flat grind tonto. But back here in this back section, about halfway back the blade, you're looking at 10 thousandths behind the edge, and then it creeps up around 19 or 20 around that tip, which is a good grind for an EDC knife. It's ground great for an EDC knife. So I'm hoping that the steel's done well on this, because with the grind, it'll be an enjoyable knife to use. Look here, it's got a nice clip on it, good deep carry clip. Plenty of room right there for your pocket to bypass those screws. You got a kind of a geared back spacer, and it is G10. Well, that's what they claim, it's G10. It looks like G10. And I love that pattern that it shows right there. It's nice. It's contoured, or not contoured, but it's chamfered. And in the hand, it feels great. Feels real good. The blade is 3.5 with 3.25 inch cutting edge, and the handle is 4 3/4 and 8 1/4 overall. And I'll set it right here under the Rat 2, and you can have a size comparison. So there you go. There's the three knives I wanted to talk about. Can't hardly see that one, but there it is. But that's pretty much all I got for today. I really wanted to show Shaun's knife mostly before I send it out to him, and just to shout Shaun out and tell him how much I appreciate him for hitting me up and taking one of these knives. And he's just a really good guy. The deal that we worked out was probably good for me. I mean, in my favor. But he's just a good dude. Every chance he has to be a good guy, he's a good guy, and we need more of that. Just for giggles, let's show you how sharp it is. This thing is a freaking laser beam. A laser. Yep, but there's your knife, Shaun. It'll be in the mail tomorrow. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it after you get it in hand. Guys, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Leave me some comments down there. If you're interested in one of these knives, hit me up, and I'll see you on the next one, guys.